going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. And today we are going to be ranking the 49ers quarterback options as far as how they acquire one. Matt, trade, free agency, draft. How do you see this shaping out, or how would you rank it? Actually, I should ask.
My number one scenario would be to draft somebody. You get, again, if you draft a first-round guy, and this specifically I'm talking first-round guys. So we're talking a Justin Fields, a Trey Lance, a Zach Wilson. Trevor Lawrence ain't getting past the Jaguars, so there's no point talking about him. Even if you trade back half of first round to get somebody like a Mac Jones, which isn't ideal, but is still a salvageable situation, what you get is you get a quarterback on the cheap that you can then flip Jimmy Garoppolo to somebody like New England who's willing to take the contract, or you can outright cut him, and then you have extra money to start building around. If we're looking back a lot at Super Bowl contenders, at people who are winning the Super Bowl, for the most part, outside of Tom Brady, it's quarterbacks on their rookie deal. You know, Aaron Rodgers has one Super Bowl on his rookie deal. Russell Wilson has one Super Bowl on his rookie deal. Ben Roethlisberger has his Super Bowls on his rookie deal. Patrick Mahomes won his first one on his rookie deal, but I mean, he has new money kicking in now. But going forward, that's really going to be as these prices go up, and the pandemic has brought salaries back down, the salary cap in any event. You're looking for a guy that's cheap, that's controllable, that you can build around for 4 and 5 years, depending on what you have. So to me, that's like number one. It's just the cheapest option. And if you find a guy you really like and you hit on the next big thing, it does nothing but benefit your team. It also has the most risk. So let's get that out of the way too, because if you miss, you're actually putting your franchise behind the 8 ball for years. Second option for me would be to let it rock with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that, when he's healthy, the team does win with him. So it's important to remember that for as much as we, bash on Jimmy, he does the job when he's in there. He doesn't do it pretty. He doesn't do it efficiently for the most part. He's very turnover prone. He makes those Jimmy throws that we all just like put our hands on our head. We do the Kevin McAllister, but he also does make some plays, and the team responds to him. The team does seem to like him, and we can't forget the Super Bowl run that they made in 2019. That being said, they do need to restructure so that they can free up some of that cap, and that would be contingent upon him staying. Is we need to stretch this cap number out so that we can start filling the holes that are in the 49ers roster. So that would be my second option. Third would be trade. And specifically, it would be either a Deshaun Watson trade or a Sam Darnold trade. I think Darnold is a more likely trade to be made, as well as the cheaper trade to be made. And the reason why I put this so low is that if you're going to go after somebody like Watson, as we talked about with Peter King, some of the compensation is going to be so ludicrous that it makes it not really worth it, in my opinion. You're going to turn the 49ers into the Texans just to have Deshaun Watson, and then you're going to be stuck in the same boat where, sure, you're a 9-7, 10-6 wild card style team, but you're never going to win a championship just because you can't put talent around him, and you've squandered so many draft picks and so many players that there's nothing left for you to fix. So that would be my third scenario. And then lastly, I really think that free agency, if you're going the free agent route, I mean, I'm looking at the pool of free agents, and we're talking like Mitch Trubisky, Jameis Winston, people of that nature, Cam Newton. And if you're getting down and scraping the bottom of that barrel, you're in a lot of trouble. It's better to just let it rock with Jimmy and then pick up like a solid backup or something. John Lynch said it when he was talking about Jimmy and if he expects him to be back. And the one thing that he said was, we just got to have a contingency plan, a good contingency plan in effect, so that we don't have that drop off if something does end up happening. And I think that's true. We can't go into another season with a backup like Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard. With Jimmy being as hurt as he was, you can't do it. And so if you want to do free agent, and pick up a Jameis Winston, you can do that, but he's going to be a backup. And that actually kicks back to the second contingency of keeping Jimmy Garoppolo. So for me, it's draft a guy that you can control, let it rock with Jimmy, provided that he restructures his contract. make a trade for Deshaun Watson or Sam Darnold, provided that the compensation isn't too ridiculous. And lastly would be to sign a free agent, but mainly with the goal of backing up Jimmy.
Yeah, that's a really good options. Great breakdown. I agree with you as far as drafting. It's got to be number one. The formula to win Super Bowls lately, unless you have a Tom Brady, is have a rookie quarterback playing above average, competent level, surrounded with a good defense and a couple of weapons on offense. That seems to be the winning formula. And you know, when a quarterback takes up, you know, a certain percentage over that certain percentage, I think it's like 12 or 13%, your team's likely not to have success. And that may be going a little too much into analytics, but that seems to happen. For me, though, I would go draft. I'm actually going to put free agency above trading just for the simple fact that the 49ers wouldn't have to give up any additional compensation other than the money. I think, look, Jameis had LASIK. He had the eye surgery, man. I know he had, 30 or something ridiculous thing in his last starting season with Tampa. Who knows how much that would be approved upon with LASIK. Maybe he could actually see who's who. I don't know how much it actually played. I'm being a little facetious, but still.
I mean, you hope he picks something up from Drew Brees, right?
Exactly. That too. Drew Brees, Sean Payton as well.
I will say this, though. I am worried about the fact that they seemingly want to keep Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston.
Yes. And even when Drew got injured, it was Taysom, not Jameis. So that is concerning. However, he's got starting experience. He started for 4 years in Tampa. He can be competent. And even if you have him as a holdover placeholder until you get somebody else, I wouldn't be mad at that. And then obviously trading Sam Darnold, free agency too. Like you said, there's Mitch Trubisky. I'm not crazy about him. If the 49ers did it, whatever. Okay. I think that's kind of more like a sign of them being a little too complacent and just saying we're doing something at the position. Okay.
Right.
But for trading, Sam Darnold is a very intriguing prospect. You've talked about it a bunch, you know, even on our live stream with Mike Andrews about the Niners this past weekend. He's got the Adam Gase curse, you know, and once that curse is lifted, you know, Adam Gase is out of the building. Will he improve like Ryan Tannehill did? Who knows? It remains to be seen. But I wouldn't be mad at that. But I'm only putting that underneath free agency because they would have to give up additional compensation in the form of draft picks to acquire that. And then also the bill comes due as far as giving him a contract if you continue to keep him after that. So it's interesting, but I do also like, which we haven't mentioned yet, Josh Rosen, who's already with the 49ers. He already has a contract. Yeah. So if they wanted to stand pat with Jimmy, maybe address the offensive line in round one, however they want to, you know, go about that. They don't address the quarterback in the first round. Then they at least have what I would consider to be a competent backup in Josh Rosen with a lot of upside who could possibly make something. I know you were high on him coming out of UCLA as well.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that situation if they just rolled with those two, maybe drafted a quarterback late in the draft or signed an undrafted free agency for the third?
Yeah, I could see them doing that. I think that Josh Rosen still has some untapped potential, regardless of what Kurt Warner says. I know Kurt Warner came out and said that he doesn't process well, and it's like, well, dude, he played for a crappy Arizona team in his rookie season, and then went to a crappy Miami team for a sophomore season where he only played a little bit. You know, that you got to give a guy time to develop. That's why I've never been a proponent of Miami just automatically dipping out from Tua. You know, it's too easy to just look at a guy and be like, he can't do it, rather than allowing them time to blossom. And that's the 21st century NFL for you, where everything is moving so fast. But you know, Rosen in a situation that is intellectually stimulating for him could be an option that nobody talks about that could be available, especially after there were reports earlier this week that the Raiders are not going to move on from Derek Carr. It's Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota could be a decent fit in this offense. And, you know, he's a career 63% passing guy. He has more touchdowns than interceptions. You know, he's not going to be a guy that's going to light up the stat sheet, but he's also not going to be a guy that makes the most boneheaded plays. He's going to be an even keel guy. And even as a backup for Jimmy, I mean, that's all you really want is a guy that come in and has some ability. And we talked about Winston having starting experience. people forget that Mariota was up there with him in that draft class. So there could be something there if the Raiders are willing to part, and maybe the compensation wouldn't be as much because Marcus Mariota is just a backup. So there are options for them. But I do agree that trading becomes dicey because of the inherited opportunity cost to get the guy that you want.
I agree. And Mariota is a great option as well. If they wanted to go, he's not going to be expensive. He's not going to come in and expect to start. And like you said, he's got plenty of starter experience. I would be against that at all. He's not going to come in and wow anybody. I don't think he's not going to be throwing, 4,500 yards right away. But look, if you want to roll with Jimmy, and it's sad to say, but the fact of the matter is you need to have somebody competent behind him because he has not proved that he could stay out there for a full 16 games as a starter.
Yeah. Now here's a question. If Carolina takes a quarterback like everybody expects, would you feel the phone call about Teddy Bridgewater?
Depending on the price, yes. I don't mind Teddy. I liked him when Minnesota was moving on. I wouldn't have minded him then. I think the 49ers have enough weapons around him that he could actually have certain level of success here. What do you think?
I think that in a better system, because he had 15 touchdowns, 11 picks this year. He had some up and down play. But I think a lot of that was Carolina. Christian McCaffrey missed a lot of the season. They didn't have a lot on the outside. I think that Teddy Bridgewater, in a scheme with good players around him, can be an efficient ball distributor. So depending on the price, you definitely kind of take a look at that. So, it just depends on what Carolina wants to do. You think Matt Rule has seen enough of Teddy Bridgewater that he knows he wants to move on? Or even if he drafts a guy, does he want to sit, the quarterback behind Teddy for a while? Who knows? But I mean, if we were rocking with Jimmy and we were looking for a backup, I mean, I wouldn't mind some Fitz magic up in this house. I'm just going to leave it there.
I was waiting for that to be mentioned. I think we'll definitely end it there. But if you guys, thank you all for watching this episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. If you guys like what you see, do us a solid, hit that subscribe button below. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. Once we do, somebody's going to be winning a 49ers jersey. It'll be like our 8th jersey that we've given away since we started this channel. And we're good for it. You can check our Twitter timeline. But yeah, like this video, drop a comment below. As far as these quarterback options, draft, free agency, trade, which one would you want the 49ers to go through, and who would you want?
Go ahead and click the bell for notifications so you never miss another new video. Thanks as always for joining us. And until next time, go Niners.